This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview.
Joining us today on our stand here at the UK Investor Show is Mo Khan, the CEO of Orphan. Thank you very much for joining us today. Mo, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, good. So tell me a bit about the company. What are you all about?
So yeah, we're Orphan. We have two subsidiaries. One is Venn Life Sciences. They focus on early phase clinical trial consulting. So they work in chemistry, medical manufacturing control, preclinical and phase 1 oversight. The second subsidiary is called hVivo, headquartered in London, and we conduct human challenge trials in 9 different challenge models. We are the world leaders in conducting human challenge trials in the sense that we have conducted over 60 challenge trials, more than anyone else. We've inoculated over 3,000 healthy volunteers, and we have 9 challenge models across influenza, RSV, malaria, and other pathogens too.
Okay, so human challenge trials then. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, it's a really interesting model. So historically, challenge trials were done in preclinical in animals, but human challenge trials is human, goes back to the 1940s. In fact, our own history goes back to the 1940s, when the UK government formed the Common Cold Unit, and they conducted challenge trials in the common cold virus, effectively to study the progression of common cold in healthy volunteers. So the basis of a challenge trial is to inoculate healthy volunteers with the virus. Okay, so for example, we have challenge models in 3 different variants of flu, for example. So we inoculate them with the virus, and then we treat them with the antiviral drug we are testing. Okay. We split the patient population into 2 groups, and we would treat one half with the placebo, and then one half with the active medication, and then at the end we compare the results.
Okay.
But the market entry is really difficult in the sense that you need to have so many challenge models, and each challenge model could take up to a year to build. You need to have a quarantine facility because, of course, you don't want the infected subjects, patients, to be going out in public and be contaminated themselves or contaminate other people in the public. So for us to be leading in this market, especially in the current circumstances where COVID has triggered a huge amount of financing in infectious diseases, we're in a great position.
Okay. So how are human challenge trials better than testing in animals? Does it speed up the process, or does it also come with some risks to the humans?
Well, no. Well, first of all, we don't do any first-in-human clinical trials. Okay. So they're called phase 1 trials. So challenge studies take place after the drug has already been in humans, in healthy volunteers. Okay. The difference between the animal model and the human model, of course, is that it's much more relatable. Okay. The effects we see in human beings will be much more aligned to what we see in actual patients out in the field. So that is the reason why people do it. The old classic model was to go from phase 1 to phase 2. Now phase 2 costs a lot of money, can take 2 to 3 years. The challenge model gives the pharmaceutical, the biotech companies a very quick answer and fairly cheap answer to knowing whether the drug works or not.
Okay.
So within an 8 to 10 month period, they'll know whether the drug is going to actually work in a phase 3 setting, which is a £100 million gamble.
Okay.
And for us, with our clients, we work with them very closely, and we'll be able to give them a really good indication of how good their drug works in the targeted patient population within an 8 or 10 month period.
Okay. So do you see this model being normalized going forward, or will there still be a need for traditional testing?
There will always be a need for traditional testing, because at the end of the day you still require phase 3 studies, which is conducted in 30,000 different people, and you need the safety data from that. Of course you will need that. But we believe that challenge studies will become more normal, as you put it, because it does give you a very good indication of the activity of the drug in your targeted patient population.
Okay.
So as an example, when Pfizer did their phase 3 trial in COVID, they recruited over 30,000 patients, but only 200 of them got infected with COVID. Okay. When we did our own COVID trial, 50% of the patients got infected.
Okay.
So we knew how to get our target patient population within a very short time frame. And that's the key differences. Okay, so instead of going to the field to treat 30,000 people, we can get the same impact by treating only 400 people, for example.
Okay. So what are the company working on at the moment? I know during the COVID you're doing a lot of stuff in that, and that I think brought your company's attention to the investors because of obviously what was going on in the last couple of years with COVID. The COVID stocks had a boom time. There were lots of new investors as well in the market. So is that dead now, or very much still ongoing, or have you got other projects ongoing as well?
Yeah, so very much ongoing. So the COVID pandemic has had a number of impacts. First of all, we were the first commercial entity to conduct a COVID challenge trial. The results of that were published in Nature last month, which is the leading scientific journal.
Okay.
We ran that study together with the UK government as well as Imperial College. But the impact of running that was it kind of increased the profile of the challenge model in itself. Okay, and that triggered a lot of interest in challenge studies in influenza, in RSV. So that's one of the things we're seeing right now, and we announced this week already a £7.3 million new contract in a challenge trial. But going forward, we look to get an increase in investment on our COVID work. So we will plan to do more COVID challenge trials in the coming months.
More COVID challenge trials. Okay. So currently, you were telling me before, your market cap can change quite a lot. It's around 95 million at the moment. Just what's the investment case for current shareholders or new shareholders? What are your plans, and could you give us an idea of perhaps the key milestones or objectives you want to achieve in the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months?
Okay. So last September we gave markets indication that we would be hitting around £40 million of revenue for last year, and we will be profitable. First time we are profitable as a company. We had £15.6 million in the bank at the end of December last year. So that's a very healthy position for any company, never mind an AIM-listed company, as you I'm sure know. This year we are targeting £50 million in revenue, and again showing good EBITDA, so that's a 25% increase year on year. So we are in a very healthy position. The market volatility, I believe, isn't related to our performance as a company, because year on year we've seen an increase in revenue, EBITDA. Our pipeline and our backlog is the greatest it's ever been since the company started. So we feel the future is bright. We are now getting work for 23 and 24 already in our pipeline, which is great to see. So the other thing we are doing is expanding our revenue stream. So not only are we doing challenge trials, but we are moving towards phase 2 trials, the normal trials as you call it, because we recruit about 160,000 different patient leads every year. So we want to make the most of that. So what we're doing right now is we are running phase 2 trials. We're also acting as a clinical site, effectively treating healthy volunteers in a clinical study. And the first study, we were awarded last month on that revenue stream as well. So going forward, I believe that challenge model will continue to be our core business. We'll grow the number of challenge models we have, but we will also build on the additional revenue stream that we are looking at.
Okay, excellent. And you have not been long CEO,
No.
2 months, 3 months, something like that?
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months,
today, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I wonder if you can just maybe give me a bit of an introduction to yourself, where you've come from, but also what you want to achieve at Open Orphan. What are your personal objectives for the company?
Yeah, so I've been in the CRO industry all my life. So I started in 1996 working at a UK CRO, but majority of my time was spent at a small CRO of about 20 people. I joined in 2000, and I built that up to 600 people, and we have presence in 40 countries, and we sold that to a private equity firm. So that was a good success. After that, I've been doing some consulting, and then came on board Open Orphan as a non-executive director. Then after a 3-4 month period with Cathal Friel, the chairman, he decided that he needed a full-time CEO so he can focus out on the spin-offs, and I can focus on building Open Orphan. But my target is to grow the company year on year, to increase the capacity, to increase the number of challenge models, and also to build on the different revenue streams apart from just the challenge studies. We also have a great laboratory services. We do a full virology testing, and I think there's a huge gap in the market for a new upcoming laboratory services in that area, which we are going to build on. We also, through our Venn Clinical Life Sciences arm, are able to provide early phase consulting to biotech customers. And we are now cross-selling between the two. So the last two studies that we actually were awarded for challenge trials were initiated in Venn Life Sciences, so which is great to see.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Mo Khan, the CEO of Orphan, for joining us today on our stand at the UK Investor Show, and I hope to catch up with you again soon, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thanks very much.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.